Welcome to Beat the Robots. You are the perfect machine. When you were a little kid, you may have heard the story about John Henry versus the steel drill. John Henry was an incredible rock crusher. The man could work at speeds no one had ever seen before, and one day a gentleman comes up to the foreman of the job where they're blasting through a mountain, and he says, Sir, I have a new invention that is going to absolutely change the way that you do business. You're going to be able to replace all of these people with this thing called the steel drill. Well, John Henry overhears this conversation and he says, there's no machine that's going to be able to beat me. The man says, I beg to differ. They set up a competition, and one morning, John Henry and the steel drill go head to head against a mountain. And they work all day, and they're powering through all day. And at the end of the day, believe it or not, John Henry wins. He beats the steel drill. You may have heard that story. What you may not know about that story is that the next day, John Henry died. So the lesson of our story is beating the robots may not be enough. We want to survive to fight another day. And we're going to get back to John Henry a little bit later. But for now, we are Telignite. We help you create strong, memorable, emotional connections with your audiences.
Hi, I'm Barry, and I know that there's nothing more boring than listening to people talk about themselves, so I'm going to tell you what I need to tell you about myself in 20 words or less. Prior to forming Telignite, I led the consumer insight team at Time Inc.
And I'm Jeff, and I worked with Barry at Time Inc. for about a dozen years.
That's right. And before that, I worked at Gray Worldwide, where I was communications strategist for about a decade. And I also teach consumer behavior and storytelling for brands at NYU.
Yeah, and I've been a producer, writer, and performer for over 2 decades, and we formed Telignite together.
That's right. So what we want to do today is give you a little education, give you a little entertainment, but give you information and knowledge that you can use in your everyday business life.
Yeah, and we promise it will be fun.
Yes. The reason we chose this topic for a webinar series is simple. In the next decade, a lot of jobs are going to be replaced by automation. The robots are coming. So our goal today is to show you how we humans are superior to artificial intelligence thanks to our two-sided brain. We'll be talking a lot about the opportunities that exist for you to apply emotion to every task, adding your unique human qualities and perspective.
Yeah, we'll start with a broad discussion about the future of work, and we'll introduce you to a group of humans to which you probably all belong. We call them the Huppies.
And then we'll talk a bit about how your brain works. Now, I'm not a neurologist, so it's not going to be very technical, but we want to go over some of the basics about how our brains absorb information and the impact that this has on how we make decisions.
And then we'll dive into the differences between AI, which is artificial intelligence, and EI, which is emotional intelligence. We'll talk about the 4 facets of EI, how you can improve yours, and how you can benefit from your EI at work every day. We also have some tips on how to spot and deal with people who have low EI. There are lots of them, and we'll be talking about how to manage or be managed by them.
And then we'll talk about how to attract and keep attention in a world where, guess what? Nobody's paying attention. Attention spans are shorter than ever.
Yeah, and finally, we'll talk about empathy. Empathy plays an important role in how you communicate with people at work and how brands can communicate with audiences. So, let's get started.